As a reminder, CRUD or CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update and Delete, and they're the primary actions that you'll undertake when interacting with a database. So our last video, we used the read functionality. We did a find, we read back all tasks. Now we're going to use C for create. So we're going to put the user interface elements in place that will allow us to add a new task. So first thing we do is we create a new HTML file called addtasks.html. And as with our earlier video, we'll create this as a child template of base.html. So you can see again, we use the extends keyword followed by the name of the HTML page, which is base, and we put it into block content. So we'll inject this into block content when this view is being rendered. Now we're going to keep it simple for now. All we're adding is a h3. And let's get rid of the old test function that we used at the beginning of the project. We're going to create a new function, and this function is going to be called add task. Singular rather than plural, you'll add one task at a time. And in order to do that, we create a decorator with a route called add_task. And we create a function with the same name. You don't have to do this. There are ways you can have your routing identifier can be different than the function name if you want to conceal things like that, make them less obvious. You don't have to do that, but when you're starting off, it's easier to create a function name with the same name as add task. There we go. This function works. It redirected to the add task HTML page. What we want to do now is we're going to use a form, because when you want to add a task, the easiest way to do this is to create a form, a HTML form, that the user can fill in form elements and submit the form to the server. So we're going to use materialize form elements. They're quite elegant. They conform to good UX as well. We're going to use a form with icon prefixes, and we'll modify the prefixes to reflect the data that we expect to be filled into these fields in the form. Again, just like the tasks template, we will copy and paste in a form element as well. We'll be using text areas in our forms. We'll also be using a select, and we'll use our select for categories. The categories that we created in MongoDB in the last unit or the last video, we'll eventually populate the select element with these options. Just showing you here, there's different ways. There's more stylized ways of representing the selects as well. So let's grab our sample form. And we'll paste that into our add tasks. Now remember, it must be inside in the end block, between the block content and end block. Now notice here, similar to the bootstrap you would have used in earlier lessons, Materialize uses the grid system. So a grid system is based on 12 columns. It's a 12 column grid system. So you can see that our divs for each element here, there we have 2 fields, and one uses an S6 and the second one uses an S6 as well. So one of the input fields takes up 6 columns and the second one takes up 6 columns as well. And you'll play with those to align them in a way that suits you. Having saved our changes, we now run, and we can see that we are redirected to the add task, and we do have 2 input fields in a form. Now we've no way of submitting it yet, or we don't have our actual data in place, and we'll do that next.